My child is not regular with the practices. Initially, they were doing, but now almost stopped. How can I address this?
Okay. Yeah, so this is again a common question where it's not just about the kids. We get these questions for the adults as well, where people are very enthusiastic during the program, and maybe the enthusiasm lasts for a few more days or weeks after the program, and then slowly, as the schedule takes over, maybe their work or their job or their school or college or whatever, then they start finding it challenging to keep up their initial enthusiasm. So this is not just about kids. It's about it's a common it's a common problem for most adults as well. So let's not just think that it's about the kids. It's even about for the adults as well. So yes, so one thing is again how this problem can be taken care of is, as I was already mentioning, the way they learn yoga, okay, the way the atmosphere and how it is imparted. So that makes a huge difference, because it's not just about teaching yoga. It's also about inspiring someone to keep up the practice. So how they learn and how the teacher is imparting the practice and how inspired the kids feel to continue the practice makes a difference, at least to get started. That's one part. Second thing is also about the support system or the structure created at home. So if what I've seen is that for most kids whose parents are also doing practicing yoga, or who consider yoga as an important part of their lives, you will see that generally such kids also tend to do and make this a part of their life, because suddenly they understand that yes, this is something which is a part of their daily life, just like how they're brushing their teeth or taking a bath. They need to do these practices as well. So if parents are also in committed to that, we seen that the kids also it becomes much more easier for the kids to adapt or make these changes in their life. Second thing is also about the how do you manage the logistics. For example, there are kids who start learning, and once their school starts, maybe they have learned it in the holidays, but once their school starts, it becomes difficult for them to follow, because let's say they are leaving very early in the morning. Then what happens is getting up early becomes a challenge. So how you manage those logistics? Let's say if they wake up a little earlier, maybe even half an hour in advance, you will see that it will be easy for them to make this change. But suppose they are not able to make that change in the morning, you can see how they can do it in the evening. So managing the logistics so that it becomes easier for them to take care of that, because sometimes because of timings, a lot of people, they tend to leave the practice, because when the school starts, they may need to get up early, or the bus comes early, and they struggle to get up early. So yes, getting up early, again, if they have to get up half an hour earlier, they also need to manage their dinner time. Like if they have an early dinner and sleep early, then they will be able to get up half an hour earlier. But it's best that if they can do this in the morning before they get caught up with anything else, because once they come back from school, a lot of people they get into other classes, or they find it difficult to maintain empty stomach condition. So if that is a big struggle, they can always do practices which don't require where empty stomach condition is not mandatory. For example, like nadi shuddhi pranayam or arm chanting, or upayoga practices where even a light stomach condition is preferred. So if they start with these practices, at least they can keep these practices up where empty stomach is not required. Then you will see that at least something is going on daily. So we may have to just look at the logistics, how to make things work for them. So they may require a little bit of help in the initial few days, where parents can help them to at least fix up a time which is suitable given their schedule constraints and everything. So that's the second part which you can do. And third part, I feel, is also sending them for programs regularly. Maybe they have learned it earlier, but once in a while, maybe once in 6 months or even a year, see if they can attend another program, or if there are any review sessions happening, just ensure that they go there and get their practices checked. So something which keeps them in touch, every time, regularly, that is something which is very useful for them to keep up something. Like just like how for adults, we need refresher sessions, or we need regular sessions, or we need constant reminders, maybe through, like for example, people who do inner engineering, then the next thing they go for is Bhava Spandana or other programs, something which keeps them in touch. So similarly for the kids also, if we can expose them to programs regularly, or practice sessions, or something where they're in touch, or maybe a visit to the ashram or the yoga center, wherever they can, if they are in touch constantly, you will see that it's much easier for them to keep up something as well. And there are so many ways you can inspire them, and it's just a matter of them doing the practice for the first 40 days. That first 40 days when they have learned it, that's the time when they need the support the most. Once they start doing the practice, and if it's become a part of their life for the first 40 days, we have seen that it becomes much easier for them to continue that. It's just those first 40 days where they need that help. If that help is provided in those first 40 days, you will see that it becomes much easier for them to imbibe this.